Do you really think China is going to become the world's top country? Everyone acts like it's a done deal, but in this video, I'm going to share 5 compelling reasons that will make you question whether China will actually take over the world. Reason number 1, the days of China's 8 to 10% annual GDP growth are probably over. The first indication is that their target for 2023 is only 5%. Even though they're recovering from a major downturn in 2022. And going forward, 4 of their most crucial sources of long-term growth are in question. First, a huge driver of growth over the last 30 years has been government policy that supported opening and reform. But under President Xi, China has reversed course and become more closed and autocratic. There's been more surveillance, more intervention in the economy and private businesses, more censorship, harsh lockdowns. Preserving the party's power trumps everything. Second, the entire business model of the property sector, which makes up 20 to 30% of the economy, is broken. There have already been multiple defaults and business failures, and the government's recent interventions basically just kick the can down the road instead of actually solving the problem, which reminds me a lot of the Japanese policies that created an army of zombie companies and led to a lost decade. Third, the government is cracking down on local government financing vehicles, or LGFVs, which drive infrastructure investment and have been one of the most important sources of economic growth over the last 20 years. The problem is that they're full of corruption and their debts have ballooned to almost $10 trillion, about half of the country's GDP. And that leads us to our 4th driver, credit, aka debt expansion, which has fueled growth for a long time, but will not be able to continue at the same pace. Debt isn't just a problem in the LGFVs, it's a problem throughout the entire corporate sector. China's debt ratio hit 300% of GDP last year, and the government knows this is a problem, hence the crackdowns on LGFVs and the slower growth target this year. Tackling this problem is a good thing, but it does weaken a key source of their long-term growth. Reason number 2, the second reason to be skeptical about China's inevitable rise is that their plans for expanding their global influence have some serious limitations. The first one is the Belt and Road Initiative, or BRI, which provides loans to build projects in poorer countries around the world. Some governments prefer China because China doesn't make them do things like respect human rights and implement government policies to help them actually pay the loans back, which are often requirements to get loans or aid from Western countries. However, when something seems too good to be true, it often is. And a lot of countries are starting to figure that out. Generally, these loans have come with strings attached, like all the construction contracts go to Chinese companies instead of hiring local workers. And then, when the country can't pay back the debt, China gains influence over them or control of key resources. The strategy has come to be known as debt trap diplomacy after Malaysia, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, and literally dozens of countries have gotten in trouble with Chinese debt. Not only are these countries now getting a little more skeptical about accepting loans from China, but China is getting a little more skeptical about giving them out since they're tired of not getting paid back. So BRI funding has been dropping significantly, and thus so is its ability to expand their global influence. The BRI slowdown is just one of many reasons that China's rising global influence may have some serious limitations. The Communist Party's increasing control over companies has led to increasing skepticism among foreign governments. A lot of them banned Huawei's 5G equipment, many countries have banned TikTok from government devices, India banned it completely, and many mergers and acquisitions around the world have been blocked on national security grounds. Rampant IP theft, things like retaliatory tariffs on Australian wine, a hacking campaign against South Korea, and the lack of an independent judicial system aren't helping win friends or build trust either. Another point of contention has been their human rights record. In Xinjiang, they locked up over 1 million Uyghurs for offenses like having a beard or saying there's a god. These issues aren't new and have been widely known, but what's changing is that more governments have been willing to stand up to China lately, which could be a sign of their waning influence. There's been a lot of talk on social media about countries trying to decouple from the US dollar, a lot of which has shreds of truth, but has been twisted and blown out of proportion to the point that it's more noise than news. However, there's been a lot more realistic actions taken by large governments and companies to reduce their dependence on China. Just Google reshoring, nearshoring, or deglobalization, and you'll find hundreds of articles on it. Reason number 3, the third reason to be skeptical about China's inevitable rise is their shrinking and aging population. Their population shrank overall for the first time in 2022, and their working age population has been declining since 2012. The basic components of economic growth are capital, labor, and productivity. And this essentially means that one of those three inputs, labor, will not just be growing more slowly, it'll actually be declining. I already covered how the debt-fueled growth couldn't be sustained at the same rate, so the capital portion could also be slowing. And that just leaves us with productivity, which will be hampered by our fourth reason to be skeptical about China's rise. Reason number 4, technological advancement has been a big source of growth, foreign influence, and increasing wealth in China. But that's going to be a lot tougher to come by going forward. First, the US high-end semiconductor restrictions put in place in 2022 will seriously hinder China's ability to advance their high-end AI, supercomputing, and cutting-edge military technology. All those rely on the most advanced chips, which now they can't get, can't design, and can't produce themselves because of the expansive restrictions on the different parts of the supply chain. In addition, the tech sector has been one of many areas where the Chinese government has curtailed their own growth. Like I said, preserving the party's power trumps everything. Just in the last couple years, they've cracked down on technology, gaming, education, and many other innovative areas, destroying trillions of dollars of value and causing foreign investors to become much more cautious about investing in China going forward. Preserving the strength of the Communist Party was more important than preserving the strength of the Chinese economy, which brings us to my final point, that one-man autocratic rule has never ended well. Reason number 5, China now has greater resources than any autocrat in history ever has. So maybe this will be the exception, but many early signs of the things that have brought down other governments are already there. Xi Jinping has gotten rid of term limits to allow himself to be president for life, purged the government of his competitors, crushed dissent, and increasingly indoctrinated the country in his own ideology. Often one-man rule starts off good, but deteriorates over time. There are lots of examples of leaders successfully staying in power for 30, 40, or 50 years, but no examples of those countries prospering in the long run. The fundamental problem is that when it comes to a decision between something that will tighten their grip on power or improve the economy and the lives of people, they choose power. And Xi Jinping has already showed many early signs of similar behavior. Hear me out here. I'm not denying that China has a lot of things going for it. I don't think they're evil or anything like that, and I think that the way they're portrayed in Western media is often woefully unfair and inaccurate. However, there are two sides to every coin. And I made this video because there seems to be a huge cohort of people that believes China's rise and the US's decline are inevitable. And I don't think that's the case either. Like the United States, like every country, China is imperfect, and along with their many opportunities, they also have many challenges. Realistically, I don't think either country is going away anytime soon. Here on social media, I give you what you want, but in the link below, I give you what you need. Check it out.